Like, I'm a daddy. I'm grown. Stop beating your chest. You're making a radio. You think you tough?
Oh, just because somebody don't retaliate don't mean they'll, whatever you said.
They pussy thing.
No, they don't.
Yes, it is.
They just don't want no. So if a man run up and hit a man, and the other man don't hit him back, that means he's.
Hell yeah.
Why
to fight back?
Okay, how come he just
Fuck
say
that thing about Martin Luther King?
No.
Beat they motherfucking ass.
No.
That
what
shows
about?
That you not only aggressive, but you protecting your rights.
No, but what if they just being a bigger man and just walk?
Bigger man, my ass. I don't go for the bigger man shit. You got the wrong motherfucker. I said it. Now take me off of tic-tac or be back or whatever the fuck it is. Or Rick Rack. I don't even know what y'all talking about.
Yo, for the most newest music, the best music from the old school music to today, catering to the independents, hittinghornradio.com. Radio you can watch, the pulse of the city.
What you doing still in bed, man? Yo, you need to punch in for that Morning Shift MKE with Sayer right here on hittinghornradio.com exclusively from 10 to 2 p.m. Check it out, man. Listen out.
The Morning Shift MKE uncut 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. right here on hittinghornradio.com. Real topics, real news you can use. You dig? You can also catch us at the Post of the City page on Meta or Facebook or hittinghornradio.com.
Pitch control.
The Morning Shift MKE uncut on hittinghornradio.com.
Assalamualaikum. I am Sister Rebecca.
Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to the Milwaukee Islamic Dawah Center.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Yamin Talib Muhammad.
My name is Doris White. I've been with the Dawah Center for about 15 years. Okay. Yogurt.
Since 2017, our food pantry program continues to reach to thousands of families and individuals. In 2021, we distributed over 1 million pounds of food and impacted over 100,000 individuals.
We've been serving our community for years with our pantry.
We have a pantry here on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, about 9:30, 10 o'clock.
We were awarded a $30,000 grant to purchase a 27-foot truck, as you see here, 27-footer, as well as a 17-footer over here that we use to provide food services throughout the city of Milwaukee County. With the help of Allah and a great team of volunteers, our pantry continues to combat food insecurity in our community.
Everybody like it. They love it. And not only like it, they love it. A lot of the same people, a lot of new people. And we see a lot of new people when we are on Hampton. That's when we see a lot of new people, but mostly the same people here. Every third Wednesday of the month, they give a big giveaway. We even give twice as what you see today.
The donations that you have given and continue to give us fuel the work that we do. And we can't say thank you enough. Assalamualaikum.
May Allah reward you and your families for your continued support in this life at the next. Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Mubarak.
Welcome to the Morning Shift MKE. You clocked in, hittinghornradio.com. Man, I like that brother, man. His motivational speaking. I ain't even, other than when we had him in studio for an interview, I haven't went to hear him speak live. I just be coming across the little videos or whatnot on Facebook, man, and they dope. So I started pulling them to share with y'all. I'm sure y'all, a lot of y'all done seen them already. But, man, we 80,000 plus listeners weekly. It's some folks ain't. So I'm gonna keep putting them out there like that. But what's the word, y'all, man? It's what? It's Wednesday, right? It's hump day. Health and Wellness Wednesday. I'm actually waiting on the Enlightened Lifter to pull up. Oh, man, it's cloudy outside, 66 degrees. It ain't hot, it ain't cold. It's just kind of cool, though. You know what I mean? I'm not one of the ones that got a problem with the rain or whatnot. I actually kind of like it. It's saying I like things that make everybody go somewhere and sit down. You know what I mean? And then when I'm outside, I be the only person out moving around. Like, I'm cool with that. I kind of get a kick out of my solitude or whatnot. Because people irritate me. I like animals better than people, to be honest. I really do. I got a few videos for y'all while we wait. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? We got something going on. I gotta plug this. I have to plug it. It's a car wash fundraiser that we got going on. Give me 1 second to pull the details up. I gotta get them up here. Rocks, the homegirl rocks everybody over there with it's an actual official name to their group. We on the move or something like that. I'm gonna find it and get back to y'all. I ain't gonna hold y'all up. Trying to wait for me to figure that out. Unless this next thing I open up is it, and it's not. So yeah, I'll get that information back to you. But we got a car wash fundraiser coming up to help a youth program out. So y'all stay tuned for that. Visit the website, hittinghardradio.com. Check out the Facebook pages, the Pulse of the City, the Twitch page. We are the Pulse of the City. And the Morning Shift MKE. Check them all out. Follow them all, man. Stay up to date on all the stuff that we got coming up so that you don't miss nothing, right? Let me get off into a couple videos and find that information for y'all. Let's go.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode with the one and only, the Urban Nurse. And today I have for y'all, a special story that I wanted to share that, really touched me near and dear to my heart that I just experienced at work. And what, provoked me to make this video and inspired me to make this video. I woke up this morning around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Listen, I'm a night shift nurse. If you're a night shift nurse, you understand. When I wake up, it's morning time because I was up all last night. So I wake up to a notification on Facebook from a longtime high school friend, and she tagged me in a post from another black male called "Why We Need More Black Males in Medicine." And it just, I said, I gotta make a video about this because I just had a similar experience to what this guy is talking about at work last week. I would go about reading the story to you, but I'm not very good at reading on the spot, so I gotta work this out. So you can check that out, narrated by the one and only, the Urban Nurse, right here. Why we need more black men in medicine. I had a patient this week who came in with left leg weakness over last week. Younger black guy in his 30s. Brain MRI clearly indicates multiple sclerosis, so we all go in during the morning rounds to give my man his diagnosis. He has a bit of a blank stare as he listens to my attending try to explain what he has. He was told earlier he might have had a stroke, and now we're telling him he doesn't have a stroke, but he clearly is processing what he does have and just says, nah, to having any questions. So we're running the patient list after rounding, and as we get to him, my attending says something like, I don't know if apathy's a word, seemed like he doesn't care. Laughs, and so does the rest of the team. I'm sitting there like, this ain't it, and yes, I was the only one. So after running the list, I don't even stick around with the team. I go straight back to dude's room, and the code switch was automatic. Look, man, I know all that was a lot. Did you really get what the doc was saying? The man looked at me with a face of relief. Now I'm going into detail on MS and how it's different from a stroke and what it means for him long term. The real validation came when he interrupted me early on and said, oh, so it's a brain thing I got. Yes, man, it's a brain thing. And now my dude understands what he has, why he needs the tests we need, and what the rest of his life might look like. all because I could recognize what everyone else seemed to miss. From a cultural perspective, he's not apathetic. Folks just weren't connecting with him. I'm in the right field, fam. Okay, so now you can understand where we're going here, right? So let me share my experience with you. I had a guy who came in for abdominal pain and chest pain. Upon entering the room, doing my assessment, I found out that he was a prior gunshot victim. Got shot up really bad, but he survived, and he lives with the scars to tell a story. After talking to him and getting to know him, young guy, probably looked like he was around my age or maybe about a couple years older than me. After talking to him, getting to share his story, we kind of connected, and built a small relationship. So me personally, I never experienced him showing any anger, I never got any like backlash from him. And when talking to the doctor would come in and talk to him, she always just asked me like, is he giving you a lot of attitude? Is he being reluctant to tell you things? And I'm like, no, he's a cool guy to me. And she basically was telling me that it's not abdominal pain, it's not chest pain. He's coming in because he's in chronic pain, because he's a gunshot victim, which he rightfully so deserves to be treated for his pain. But she's like, he told me that, and this really touched my heart. It's like just how uninformed and uneducated my people can be. He said, I'm only coming here because I didn't want to go buy Percocets off the street. I'd rather come in and get it the legal way. And after he said that, she was not giving him any narcotics, any opiates, any nothing. All he was getting was Tylenol and Motrin, and that's it, and maybe some Pepsi for his stomach. And she was just like, he's getting really mad. He's refusing all the medication I'm trying to give him, and he's just upset. So me understanding the situation, I go in there and I talk to him. I say, look, bro, I understand you're in pain right now, and you rightfully so deserve to be treated for your pain. But coming in here to get pain medication is not the way to go. I said, we're in a serious opioid epidemic in this country, and doctors are losing their license left and right. Doctors are being irresponsible left and right, and creating addicts. He's like, man, I'm not no junkie. I don't do no drugs. You can check my urine. I don't smoke. I don't do anything like that. I got kids. I got a job. I said, listen, bro, I understand. You got shot. You know what I'm saying? You still, like you said, you still have a bullet in you right now. You got shot, and you deserve pain medication. But I said it's a right and wrong way to go about things, and coming to the emergency room if it's not a dire emergency is not the right way. And then especially to tell, and we appreciate your honesty, but to tell a physician that you only come here because you didn't want to buy it off the street, which I commend you on, because it's illegal, you could get locked up, but they're not going to treat that. And especially this physician, she's very smart, she knows what she's doing, and she's very responsible. She's not going to do that. And he's like, yeah, I understand. I said, look, I checked your chart, and I saw that you don't have a primary care provider. What's going on? He's like, yeah, that's what I need to do. I need to get a doctor. I said, why don't you have one? I said, in 2016, or I don't know what year, it was a few years ago, you had a primary care provider. You got a primary care provider, and you had a referral to a pain management specialist. He's like, yeah, well, when I went, they were just all the information they were throwing at him and the medications they were throwing at him. It kind of scared him off, and
Hey, that's very true, man. Y'all, we brothers, we gotta admit it, man. Most men don't have a primary doctor. You know what I mean? They don't have a secondary doctor, let alone a primary doctor. Man, most men see the doctor when they get incarcerated, man, or if they woman say something wrong. And that's really the truth. As men, you got to be more involved in your health situation, man. Making doctors, dentist appointments, all that stuff, man. You gotta be on it. Especially if you a single, man. Married men don't too much have that problem because they wives be on top of all that for them. But y'all know how the man is, man. You 100 miles a running doing something, trying to earn a buck. You ain't really thinking about the stuff like that. So you got to bring that stuff to the front of your mind and think about it, man. A longer life depend on it.
In my community, you know, we have a lot of people in our family who've experienced things, and they be like, "Oh, don't take those blood pressure pills because this happened to Uncle Rodney or Aunt Keisha. She died from like this." So you know, he got to telling me that his family was telling him this, that, and the third, and not to do this, and so he just kind of dropped it off. I said, "Listen, the first thing you need to do is get a new primary care provider." Well, how do I do that? Well, we have a patient navigator, and you know that can direct you to different primary care providers. Whether you have insurance, you don't have insurance. There's resources here to help you. You know, we're here to help you, and when you do go to that primary care provider, they're here to help you because they can then refer you to a pain management specialist because you have chronic pain, sir. And so this is this pain you've been dealing with this pain for years, and it's obviously not going anywhere. That's what chronic pain is. It's not just a simple pain that's going to come and go. So you need to be treated by a specialized doctor who can help you with that, and so that you don't get addicted to the medications. He's like, "Yeah, man, I understand." I said, "Look, you got to take responsibility for your own health." I said, "You got a kid on the way, you got kids at home, you got a job." I said, "You know what I'm saying? Your family depends on you, and you got to provide for your family. And the first way to do that is by being there, and you need to take care of yourself." And he shook my hand and was like, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna get on that." So I gave him the patient navigator number. I discharged him, and he shook my hand and he left. And after that, it's pretty much out of my hand, out of my control. But it really touched my heart because he was bumping heads so heavy with the physician, who obviously wasn't the same race as him. And there was just a disconnect there. That what she was saying just wasn't radiating to him the way I could put it. Because when he looked at me, he basically, in a way, sees himself, because that could be my brother, that could be my cousin. We understand each other in a sense. I never met the guy a day in my life, but when it comes down to the basics, he can understand what I'm saying, and I understand how I can put it to him versus a doctor using medical terms, or even if they try, it's just I don't know where the disconnect happens, but I know it's a cultural barrier. And I see that a lot of times at my job, that people call the physicians racist, or have attitude and just be so defiant against what the physicians and then the other nurses are saying. And I know at the root cause of it, it's that cultural barrier. You can't relate to them, and they can't relate to you. And Baltimore, a lot of the hospitals I told you guys are located centrally in the urban communities. They're located in the hood. They're all downtown, and all of the patient population, majority of the patient population are, high school diploma or less, have high school diplomas or less. They live below the poverty line. So that the ignorance that's there, they can't really understand what you're saying. And that's why it's important for us to have, more of a black representation, not just black males, but a black representation in all of medicine. And I'm speaking specifically from the nursing standpoint, because I feel like it will further medicine as a whole, because a lot of times people come into the emergency room for, chronic issues that could be taken care of at a primary care provider, but they don't have a primary care provider, either because the lack of resources or the lack of insurance, and they come in for us to take care of these issues. And that then burns out nurses, because it's like, oh, is somebody here again for stomach pain? And then it just creates a divide, and I hate to see it when we get the same patients over and over again, and the physicians or the nurses that don't come from the same background as these patients, down talk them or laugh at their issues because they don't understand. And you know, me and my people, I understand because me, before getting in nursing school, never went to a hospital. I had a doctor, went to the doctor, but you know, I just put all my trust in him because I had been going to him since I was a kid. And a lot of people don't have that privilege, so they're going into an unfamiliar territory, not knowing any information, and then they have these people who they don't look alike telling them information that they don't understand about themselves, and it can be scary. So, you know, I wanted to make this video to, you know, me, I don't care if it's one person, spark that light, put that fire under somebody who's thinking about getting into going to medical school, thinking about going to pharmacy school, thinking about going to nursing school specifically, and you know, just put that fire under you to understand the impact that you could have on your community by doing something that you do every day, something so small. You know, I was with this guy for an hour, 2 hours, and I had the ability to possibly change his life. So I appreciate you staying and, you know, hearing what I had to say. I hope to see you guys next time.
Let's talk about men's health. Research shows that roughly 60% of men do not visit their doctor routinely, making men more likely to delay addressing medical symptoms or to ignore them altogether. This can lead to an increased risk of serious health complications, such as heart disease, cancer, depression, anxiety, diabetes, and more. Even if you're feeling healthy, it's important to be proactive by scheduling regular health checkups with your doctor. So where should you start? Let's break it down. For ages 20 to 40, see your primary care physician for a checkup once a year, even if you're feeling healthy. Get routine tests such as blood pressure, cholesterol levels, and immunization updates. If recommended by your physician, visit a urologist to check on your reproductive system and prostate health. For ages 40 to 60, continue to get regular checkups from your primary care physician and urologist. Schedule a colonoscopy to check for hidden issues, such as colon cancer. If you have high blood pressure or a family history of heart disease, check in with a cardiologist. For ages 60 and up, continue with routine physicals and screenings recommended by your physician. Consider seeing an orthopedist to address any musculoskeletal issues. Talk to your physician about ways to stay physically active and healthy. Together, we can help increase awareness about men's health. Talk to your friends and family about staying proactive with their health care.
A problem that we have with communications, we don't know how to start it.
Voluntarily start
Yes.
that conversation.
And so to have an individual with an objective perspective guide you that way, then it just like, it releases. It's like taking a deep, like, sigh.
My wife and I did premarital counseling.
And that was in the church as well, or outside?
Through the church, and also outside.
Oh, you had two different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, and I believe in continuing.
This here is a black men therapy round table where they talking about black love or whatnot.
It's multi-layered. So the value to me when I would go is to have a person that can be objective and hear what I'm saying without
word.
any emotions attached to it, and just articulate it so that my wife could receive it. Because sometimes ego would change my delivery. Like, you should be understanding what I'm saying. And now I'm having a condescending tone, and my wife is completely shut down.
Right.
Yeah. So if any
We're gonna hold that one for later. That's something else.
If black men don't study black men, if black men don't change the narrative about ourselves, then no one is going to do it. The idea was to bring together a group of black male researchers who would focus on black men to help us to change the narrative and improve the lives of our brothers. And there's no way that you're going to have a healthy family if you don't have healthy black men. What people can do to help this initiative is to, if you're a black male, take the survey, become a part of this project, contribute your life experience to the knowledge base that we're collecting so that we can learn how we can improve the health of all of us. If you know a black male, encourage him to participate. If you love a black male, encourage him to participate. This is about us, this is for us, and this is to improve the length and the quality of our lives.
I'm a physician here in the Oakland community, and I do clinical research.
My name is Marcella Alshon. I'm an assistant professor at CHP Corps, and I have a background in both medicine and economics.
I'm Javarsi. I'm a sophomore here at Stanford. I'm most likely majoring in biology, but currently expecting to go to med school.
We started a pilot study, which is examining some of the factors that get black men in particular to seek preventative health care.
This notion that trust is important, trust in institutions is very important, I think that's very relevant, and it takes a long time to build it back up.
One of the big factors are historical abuses, and the most well-known and probably the most egregious historical abuse is the U.S. Public Health Service study of syphilis around Tuskegee, Alabama.
And what had happened was for 4 decades, from 1932 to 1972, they specifically targeted black men in the South who had very little education and followed them even though they had a treatment for syphilis and watched them as the disease progressed.
One of the big things I remember always being emphasized growing up is the huge gap in life expectancies between African American populations and Caucasian populations, specifically between white and black men.
It had been written about for a long time that might have actually had an effect on the trust that particularly those men had in the institutions of public health, in medicine. We just took that hypothesis seriously, and we dug around, myself and my co-author, Marianne Wanamaker from the University of Tennessee, to actually see if that hypothesis held water. And we found that it did.
So those are some of the things we're trying to determine. What are the real factors behind African American male mistrust or distrust of the healthcare system? So we first started working in barbershops, and we went to barbershops to recruit black men. If you know anything about the black barbershop, everyone, if you need to get your hair cut and you're a black guy, whether you're rich or poor, a PhD, or didn't finish high school, you go to the same barbershop that is part of your community.
I think as the black barbershop, we're somewhat looked to as a pillar of the community. So we take on the responsibility of helping the black man's well-being.
I would definitely say I love my experience in a barbershop. I think one thing that I really got a feel for is like the many facets of the communities, especially specifically the even African American male communities within Oakland.
One thing we learned was just how much weight the Stanford brand has, and how I think happy people were that we were interested and involved with their struggles.
We have limited access to healthcare opportunities.
We would really leave this kind of bubble that we're in and really go down and see some of the challenges people were facing financially, economically, socially.
Me personally, I've had bad experiences with the medical system, with the criminal justice system. So a few years ago I was shot, and I wasn't necessarily treated the way that I would have liked, right? And one thing that I noticed and one thing that I didn't see is people that look like me and which instantly put me in a state of vulnerability.
Because a lot of minorities, they don't seek health care for many reasons, whether they're scared or they just don't know. But with me being in the face of the shops, recruiting is kind of like, oh, hey, this guy, you know, it's just kind of like, it's a connection.
This is a bigger problem than just in my community, because throughout this research project, we were able to meet folks from Africa, we were able to meet folks from different states, and it's a common problem throughout this nation, right, throughout the world.
So Dr. Alston and I hope to uncover a few things. One, what are some of the factors that either get black men to seek preventative health care or to prevent them from seeking preventative health care? So if we know that, if we look at the positive side, we can maybe impact policy or work with institutions like a Stanford or a Sutter Health to design systems that reinforce some of those positive aspects.
Now, no matter what age you are or sex, we all have one thing in common. We all must take care of our bodies in order to live a long and healthy life. Now, with all the distractions we have today with media, school, work, it's really easy to forget to take care of your body. But being healthy and making healthier decisions is a lot easier than you think.
Just not going to see it. Just not going to getting a checkup. A lot of stress. Also a lot of unhealthy eating, things of that nature. So it's a lot of things, and you know, us like black men need to be aware of those things.
7, 28, 29, 30. You got 10 more in you. 41, 32, 33.
You never know, you know, what goes on. You might not feel anything right now, but you know, but you may feel something down the road, whether it's a week or a month or even a few years down the road. So you never know what can happen. So it's very important that you get, you know, you get checked up, get checked out, you know, to make sure there's absolutely nothing going on.
Easy money.
109 was 109, 110.
Toast to your health. All right, here we go. One shot. Let's do it. Check a look. Yeah.
On the behalf of the barbershop, we wish you good health. We hope that you learn a lot, and above all else, we hope you have fun today. Thank you very much.
All right.
So yeah, these videos, hold on one second. This next video is something a little interesting. But these videos, as you can see, was basically around black men's health and or the lack thereof. Because as you know, man, like I said, most, and I guess, I don't know, maybe it's incorrect for me to even say most, as if I know every black man in the world. It might be the numbers might not be as inflated as I think. But typically, let me say that, man, it take a man forever. He got to really, really know something wrong with him before he really get up and go to the doctor. Like, we don't go to the doctor, we go to the emergency room. It's a difference. You know what I mean? It's a difference. So, like I said in the comments or whatnot, I know it's a lot of information out there. You could post, I told the ladies, y'all pretty much got all the information. Post the links. Help these fellas out a little bit. Give them a little help. Post some links in the comments to lead them in the direction of primary doctors, dentists, or what have you. You know, the things they need to live a healthier life. You know what I mean? The things you normally would have to take care of for your man because he just don't have time or don't get around to do it in himself. I got another video for you that's kind of interesting that this lady made. Y'all try it out and report back to me and let me know how it go.
Sure, it sound right, boys.
She said this, her husband doesn't leave her alone. After taking this magic recipe. See, this one of them radio you can watch moments, right? When you need to be at hittinghordradio.com or at Twitch, we are the pulse of the city, so that you can see what she making. So like she putting something together with bananas and avocados. It said something, but I wasn't reading along. I actually didn't know it was just a musical background. I didn't know it wasn't no audio to what she was saying, what she was showing, but she's showing you how to make it. Well, we're still waiting on our guest to arrive, the enlightened lifter. You know, he don't even live in Milwaukee, y'all, so he used the GPS to get here. And I don't know what it is about this GPS, right? But if you put the GPS in the address to the station into your GPS, for some reason it taking people to 17th Street. I have no idea why. If that happens to you, I believe it's something on there that you can report it, like this not the proper location, yada, yada, yada. So I ask that y'all do that because, man, we got folks that don't know how to get here or be coming in from out of town, and they put the address to the station in their GPS, and, man, it'll take them way somewhere else for no reason. So I apologize for the delay. He'll be here shortly. If permitted, but if not, you know how that go, man. We're going to keep it moving, and we'll get with him next week. Let's go.
Primary care, depression in black men. Many suffer in silence.
We are alone at the very time that we really need to be reaching out to others.
Hello, and welcome to Primary Care. I'm your host, Dr. Lonnie Joe. Depression is one of the most common mental disorders in the United States and affects an estimated 17 million people each year. Black men are just as likely as anyone to have depression, but less likely to get help for it. Left untreated, depression can lead to chronic conditions like diabetes, high blood pressure, sexual dysfunction, substance abuse, and even death. According to the Centers for Disease Control, suicide is the third leading cause of death for African American males aged 15 through 24. Black men can no longer live in silence and in the shadows of this treatable condition. Here to shed more light on this topic is Dr. Harold Woody Neighbors. Dr. Neighbors is a CS Mott endowed professor of public health at the Michigan State University College of Human Medicine. His research focuses on developing community-based programs that improve the health of black men. Dr. Neighbors, welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us, Woody. Excellent. Depression. Everybody has touched it or been embraced by it sometimes in their life. Black men seem to suffer disproportionately from the disease. Black men. Why?
Well, it's not clear to me that we suffer disproportionately from the disease of depression. But I have to say that we, more than any other group, are not getting the help that we need.
So the
and
results
not getting
of it
the help
stands
that
out.
we deserve.
Good point. So the
Yeah.
results of being depressed stands out because it's untreated.
Exactly. So I think the question that comes up is why won't black men seek help? I mean, it's just that simple. Now that's a general
problem for all men, but I think it's a more pressing problem for black men. And it's not just for depression, it's for some of the other conditions that you mentioned, diabetes, hypertension. We have a problem in reaching out to get the help that we need.
Yeah, in my office, they're the last ones through the door, and,
yeah.
You know, in terms of complaints, and then they don't complain as much. I mean,
right.
They're so stoic with their own assessment of themselves. I mean, it leads to other problems. But if you had to define depression for our viewing audience, how would you define it?
So the way I think about depression is in very personal terms. You can look in the diagnostic manual of the American Psychiatric Association, and you can read through the list of symptoms. I don't really recommend that people do that. I think there's a more basic way that we can understand depression. And the first point I want to make is that depression is not normal sadness. I'm going to say that again. It is not normal sadness. I think a lot of folks are, I think, too loose with that word depression. They say, oh, I'm depressed. What they're really saying is I'm just kind of having a bad day, a slow day. That is not depression.
There is a difference.
Oh, it's a clinical difference. And so, for example, one way I think we ought to think about this is that you really, truly don't feel like you are your normal self. I think all of us have a sense of, you know, who we are, what we like to do during the day. So, for example, when I get up in the morning, I'm fired up and ready to go. I've had a period in my life where I was going through a very, very low period due to the loss of a child. So I was just devastated from the whole experience. So I didn't feel like getting up in the morning. Even though I had a job to go to, I didn't want to. The thing I enjoy most in the morning is a good hot shower. When I was going through this depressive episode, the thought of getting up and turning on the water and stepping into that shower seemed like an insurmountable task. Those are the kinds of things that you can look at to start to figure out, are you really into something where you need to get some professional advice about your mood? Some of the other things a person ought to look at, trouble concentrating. You know, I mean, because of my job, I'm concentrating all the time. But I would have periods where I'm in a conversation with someone like you, and my mind is just off somewhere else. Trouble concentrating, overeating, undereating, sleeping too much, sleeping too little, not enjoying the kinds of things that you typically do. Those are all indicators of perhaps being depressed. But I want to emphasize that for most of us walking around, if you're feeling like you're in significant emotional pain, that is the time for us to get over, as men, whatever it is that's holding us back from getting help and getting to a qualified professional person, either a primary care physician, a social worker, or a psychologist who can walk you through the assessment to figure out whether you really are clinically depressed.
So we need to embrace the idea, if nothing else, as men, patients, and particularly black men. At the opening, we quoted a statistic, suicide in black men between the ages of 15 and 24 being the third leading cause of death. I don't think people really know that.
No. I think a lot of people walk around thinking suicide is a quote-unquote white thing. Now, let's be clear, the suicide rates for white Americans, particularly white men, is higher than it is for black men. But certain age groups within black male community, we are, see a spike, and you've picked out the group that is of most concern.
So if we were to look at the conditions that exist in that age group, not just depression and some of the other things, you're probably not dealing with a lot of the long-term disease states necessarily. They're not old enough. They haven't set in just yet. Or we may see some of the beginnings of it, but they haven't set in yet. But there are other social factors, other social environmental factors that affect that age group and they wind up depressed at alarming rates.
Yeah. So in my opinion, all of this goes back to social determinants. And when I say social determinants, I'm primarily interested in education and employment. The way those social determinants affect the black community, you take another step back, and that is really the legacy of racism and slavery that has, I mean, that's really laid the unfortunate context with which a lot of us are dealing right now. So even though my research focuses more on the people who are experiencing the symptoms, we can't ever forget that the social determinants are really what's driving a lot of this. So the research that I'm doing now, and a lot of it was done in Detroit, the younger guys in our groups, our research groups, are talking about the loss of hope for the future. So hopelessness is one of the big problems. Hopelessness is, by the way, another indicator of depression, can be. But in my opinion, it's the lack of economic opportunity coupled with poor educational preparation that is saying to many of our young men that they're not seeing a positive future for them. Suicide could be one result of that, and I might add access to handguns is another problem.
So the infiltration, the increased infiltration of handguns in underserved communities is really startling.
Yes.
Woody, in the African American community, the church plays a big role. The spiritual lives of people has always been a big role, but in the African American community, it's different and it's special. I ask patients all the time, where you go to church, they identify with a church, even if they haven't been in a very long time. They identify with a minister. When it comes to this disease state of depression, where does the role of the church come in, the role of the pastor, and this interaction with black men? What role does that play, and where does it come in with African American men?
Well, to be honest, I wish we knew more about that question. It does come into play, but I think the point we're trying to make is that we as black men need to take even more advantage of the kind of things that the church and people that we know that are members of our church can offer us when we're in a high distress situation. So the general answer to your question is yes. The black church plays a very important role. I have colleagues at the University of Michigan who've been doing research on this for years. The very first paper that I published back in the...
All right, y'all, we're going to continue this on another date. I'm going to get on over to the music, man. It's about that time. Remember, the lines is always open. You can call in or text your musical request 414-502-9447. Unfortunately, man, GPS took the Enlightened lifter on a ride around the city. So he's not going to make it for the top of the hour. He might not make it today. So we're going to follow up with the brother next Wednesday. Y'all stay tuned. Keep it locked. We're going to get into the music. Man, y'all know what to do. Let's go.
This is HittingHardRadio.com.
This problem.
Yeah, I mean, when you say something like that, it reminds...
This is HittingHardRadio.com.
Time to relax. And since Maria switched the game fabric softener, it's Hello Soft Scenty Bliss.
We're good, honey. Everything's fine.
So scenty, so soft. Gain, the #1 scent